Hello everyone, my name is Cole Eckleberry and today I'll be demoing for you my personally created app Closest. Closest is a simple and easy to use application that'll find the nearest public transport options within seconds. It has a number of different components using Python, Flask, SQL Alchemy, jQuery, as well as much more. It's relatively easy to use and all you need to do is sign up for an account, which we'll go ahead and start doing now. I'm going to use the famous actor Tobey Maguire, so I'm going to go ahead and put Toby's username in there. And as you can see, I actually have a little bit of user validation feedback here for the password. Using some jQuery is I'll go ahead and type in some letters, and it's going to tell me that that's a weak password. So let's try and add on some numbers then. Okay, yeah, that got us up to medium, and then we can add on maybe a symbol or two, and that'll get us to strong, which is excellent. But in reality, you can also use this to show your password that I just created. I'm not going to use this as I want to keep Toby's password secret, but as you can see, it'll give you a stronger password as you make it more complex. So let's go ahead and drag and drop in Toby's password here. Oops, there we go. Did not mean to show that. All right, and then we'll give Toby's email here. We'll give Toby's phone number, and then we'll also give Toby a profile image. So let's go ahead and click sign up for Toby. And it'll take us to our homepage. Now, as you can see, the homepage is now requesting that we give access. So if we want to give access to our location and then search by our location, it's easy to do. All I need to do is allow location access, and then I can click search by location. But I'm going to walk you through a few of the other features of the app while we're still here on this homepage. So as you can see, there's a home button that'll take you to this very page. I have a profile icon that'll take me to my profile, and I also have a favorites route that'll basically be for whenever you find a public transport option within these results that you'll be getting, you can save it as a favorite. These favorites will be sortable, searchable, and you'll be able to go through them and basically search for a nearest public transport that you've saved in the past. So yeah, let's go ahead and try and use the app for the first time. I'm going to use the search my location button instead of by address. So I'm located here in Ohio, and there aren't a ton of public transport options, but we'll get a few here. And look at that. We get an extremely nice embedded Google iframe map that allows us to view a larger map, which will open up either a Google Maps URL for the Google Maps application, which is what this is using, is the Google Maps API. As well as down here, it gives a list of the nearest 50 application or nearest 50 public bus stations or subway routes or other public mass transit. And these are all totally searchable. So if you look here, let's look at this address, 4856. So we'll do 4856 and look at that. We can sort and search our way down. You can also go here and you can click and sort by address or name. You can also increase the number of entries per page. And it's all very responsive and easy to use. I'll go ahead and show you the responsiveness as well. So as you can see, everything basically shifts along. We are using a number of different columns and grid design using Bootstrap. But yeah, overall it's very responsive. I'm going to go ahead and add this stop to my favorites because I'm probably going to be going here quite a bit. And you can read the stop name here, which is Meyer and Hamilton Road. It doesn't find the exact address, which does happen at times. But this is actually using, I'm going to talk about the APIs here for a second. This is using a combination of two APIs, one of which is obviously the Google Map Iframe API, which allows you to embed a map within a web page, which is what we're seeing here. And then the other one is the Here Public Transit API. So you can actually search for public transit options using Here by giving an address or coordinates throughout. And it'll give you back a list of all of the stations. And that's basically what we're putting out here after getting through this. So as you can see, it's responsive, but let's go ahead and go back home. I need to click remember so that way it doesn't keep asking me. That's why. So let's go ahead and try and search by address. Obviously, I don't live in San Francisco quite yet, but I'll go ahead and use some San Francisco addresses. I'll click search here, and it'll find me 16th and Mission. Isn't that nice? Well, that'll probably be a lovely stop. But as you can see here, it lists a number of different modes, which would be bus, subway, etc. And that's all searchable as well. But I'm going to go ahead and add this to my favorites so that I can build a little bit of a favorites list for you guys so that I can show you that page here in a second. So I'm going to continue searching. Let's add another address in here. Boom. Oh, nice. Sansom and Filbert Street. I mean, just one of my favorite stops. But as you can see, this is once again all updating. It's all very responsive. So let's go ahead and go back home. We'll keep adding a few more here. Boom. Add that to favorites. Just bear with me for a few minutes here. We'll add this to favorites. And let's add a few. Let's say we're taking a trip to New York. We'll add a few New York favorites in here as well. Yeah, East 86th. I mean, that's an absolutely excellent public transit option here. And we'll add one more New York one in here. Boom, Amsterdam. What is that? Amsterdam Avenue West 79th Street. Man, that is quite the mouthful. And just to let you guys know, as you can see, this is actually hosted on Heroku, so this is fully accessible by anyone with a internet connection, obviously. So let's go ahead and go back home. We're also before we do the favorites page, let's take a look at the profile information. So as you can see here, it's just a simple listing of the profile information we have for the user. Obviously, their profile picture is here. You have their username, email, phone number, and you also have an edit profile button. So you can go ahead and click that. And as you can see, it automatically fills out using WTF forms. It'll go ahead and automatically pre-fill all of the information that you already have about the user. Here I could change his profile icon, I could change his phone number, email, but of course it requests a password to confirm. And if I try and edit this user, it's going to yell at me and say, hey, you need to have a password and it needs to be correct. So we're going to go ahead and hit cancel. I don't want to update any of Toby's information. He's a brand new user, and I don't think he needs that quite yet. So let's go ahead and view the one of the last parts of the application, which would be favorites. And as you can see, this is a totally responsive design when it comes to loading these favorite cards. And as you can see, these are all the favorites that I added. And what's really cool is that you can basically click on any one of these and just click View Larger Map, and it'll open up Google Maps, whether this is on your phone, iPad, any device possible. It'll either open up the Google Maps app or it'll open up Google Maps, the online web application. And then using that, you can basically do directions from, wherever you are from your home, etc. Closest is not really about the actual routing of your, destination. It's not trying to find you the route to get there. It's really just trying to provide a list of public available transport options for you. So I'm going to go ahead and show the search functionality. Let's find one down here, 457 Spruce. Let's go ahead and do that, 457 Spruce. And look at that, fully responsive, totally searchable by either card body, card text, I should say, or the body throughout. But yeah, I can also search by the card title as well. And yeah, so these are totally searchable. I can delete one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the Amsterdam Avenue one. We knew you well. Boom. And look at that. It's out of our favorites. You also cannot add duplicates. I'm removing all duplicates on the back end. And then I'm going to show you a little bit of the responsive design. You saw a little bit of it there as it went down to, I believe this would probably be like a medium screen size. But as we start to get smaller, you'll see the cards start to shift a little bit. Yep. And as we get down here to the smallest screen size, cards start to take up the entire width of the screen. And this is exactly what it would look like on a mobile device. Overall, it's really fluid. It's easy to use. It's extremely snappy. The performance of this app, I think, does a really good job overall. And I personally would actually not mind using this application if I ever did need to find transport options. So most of the features we've gone through so far. You have favorites. You can search for public transport. It's very easy to do. You can do by location or by address. But let's just go ahead and do our last thing and get a log out here. And it'll give us a nice little flash message telling us that we logged out and take us back to the sign in page, which once again, you could sign back in and use Closest as much as you want. So thank you again for staying in for this entire 9-minute video about my app Closest. I'm extremely proud of this app, and I'm very happy with the way it came out. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And thanks again for attending my demo of the application Closest.